Season's over, Chris. It's all over. George Kittle's on IR. Brock Purdy's toes are falling off. Jake Moody's gone. Any parting words for your guy, Jake? It's okay. Take your time.
I think it was like we said. I thought it was going to happen. Like, it had to happen. It should have happened after last season, I think. So you go into this season with, a true kicking competition. Maybe use a 7th round pick on a kicker you like in college, or sign one or two in undrafted free agency. But yeah, it was beyond time. I don't have a whole lot more about it than that. Eddie Pinheiro seems like a perfectly justifiable kicker to go sign, and also given that you're not trying to boot it out of the end zone on every kickoff, you don't need a dude with the strongest legs. So it seems like it makes sense, at least from that standpoint.
Yep. Better from 50 yards than Jake Moody is. So
Eddie Pinheiro's worst season was about the same percentage-wise as Jake Moody's best season.
I mean,
84%. So should be an upgrade.
Yep, for sure. Kendrick Bourne signed. I'm trying to get the other news out of the way. Kendrick Bourne is on the 49ers roster. I don't think that means anything for Juwan Jennings and his short or long-term future. I think this is more a product of the fact that Marquez Valdes-Scantling and Russell Gage played a combined 55 snaps against the Seattle Seahawks and received 0 targets.
Yeah.
I think that's what this comes down to.
This is about trying to get somebody who can create a little bit of separation, so you're not just locked into Christian McCaffrey the entire game.
Yep, for sure. Worth noting that Kendrick Bourne's best season was also Mac Jones's best season with the Patriots. Bourne had 55 catches for 800 yards and 5 touchdowns that year in his first season with New England. So there's already a built-in rapport between those two, which I think, I don't think that was like a reason they signed Bourne, but I think it'll help come Sunday and perhaps ensuing Sundays.
Yeah, it's a helpful coincidence for sure.
Yeah, definitely. George Kittle, on the other hand, who was placed on IR on Tuesday, that's a much bigger deal.
Yeah. So I feel...
Go ahead, sorry.
I feel like this is just about, for the Niners, like big picture when it comes to, we'll talk about Brock Purdy here in a second, but when it comes to all these injuries, I think Kittle, Purdy, and Brandon Ayuk in particular, you're looking at that week 6 game at Tampa Bay. I think in an ideal world, and I don't know, what the specific time frames are for these injuries, but Kittle going on IR, it sounded like the injury was kind of something that if that week 5 game against the Rams was a Sunday and not a Thursday night, that maybe that would have been the target date and he would have not gone on IR. But because that is a Thursday game, it makes sense to give, the extra little bit of runway into that week 6 game at Tampa. And I think, honestly, those are the 2 most difficult games on the Niners schedule with respect to, Houston week 8. I think going to the Rams on a Thursday night and going to play Tampa Bay week 6, I think that's a really difficult game for the Niners. And I think if you can get George Kittle, Brock Purdy, and Brandon Ayuk back that game, and then, as long as you're treading water, as long as you win, I would say 2 of the 4 games in the meantime, I think you'd be in a decent spot.
Yeah, winning the 2 of the 4 games, though, it's interesting you say the tougher games on the 49ers schedule, because I think if I think the schedule difficulty looks different with Mac Jones under center.
Oh, yeah.
Because all of a sudden, the Saints was a game that I had just chalked up as a win. But any game that Mac Jones is going to start is going to be at least a little bit of a question mark, right? And then you factor in, Juwan Jennings might not play. And you factor in no George Kittle. And you factor in Christian McCaffrey's coming off a game where he had 31 touches. Things get a little bit dicier. But to your point, I think if they can get through 6 weeks, I'm giving them 6 weeks. If you can get through 6 weeks at 3-3, which means Mac Jones needs to win 2 of Saints, Cardinals, Jags, Rams, and Bucks, I think you're still in an okay spot division-wise.
Yeah, and I think if there's a silver lining to it, it's that Mac Jones has started 49 games in the NFL. Like this will be his 50th start, and he's what 27 years old.
Mhm.
So this is not like a career. This isn't Brandon Allen getting a start in Green Bay.
Sure, yeah.
This is like a relatively experienced former first round pick. Somebody obviously Kyle Shanahan has had a fondness for dating
What?
back to 2021. Yeah, I don't know if you heard that. Um,
We should have
but
podcasted about that.
if only. But yeah, I think like to me the Mac Jones thing, he just needs to not make the backbreaking mistake. Like he just needs to do the prototypical game manager stuff.
Mhm.
And I think the way the 49ers defense should match up against the Saints offense, the Niners should be able to score 17 points and win the game. Like
Interesting.
I don't think they need Mac Jones to light it up. Like I don't think they need 28 points from the offense. I think they just need like to not turn the ball over, not put the defense in bad spots. If they can get a good game on special teams, that would be immensely helpful. I wouldn't count on that by any stretch, given what we saw Sunday in Seattle, even with Eddie Pinheiro now as the kicker. But I think the Niners can win the game on the strength of their defense, which feels like a pretty big turn. And maybe the Niners defense is just going to be a roller coaster all year because it does have young guys. But Sunday to me, given all of the moving parts during training camp, all of the young guys, all of the injuries, and the guys, in and out of practice and stuff like that, it was very impressive to me to see how sound the Niners were from a schematic perspective and from um, just from a fundamental perspective, given all those moving parts. So if the Niners can continue to lean on their defense, that'll obviously give them a much better shot. If their defense is going to struggle, then Mac Jones is going to have a really hard time winning games. But given that it's the Saints, given that it's Spencer Rattler, if you can go in there and have a similar defensive performance as you did against Seattle, then I
Mhm.
think you have a decent chance of winning the game as long as Mac Jones doesn't make the backbreaking mistake.
So I'm gonna zag briefly because I think there's a chance that all of the reasons that Kyle Shanahan liked Mac Jones leading up to the 2021 draft kind of play out over the next few weeks. Where no, not that he's going to be incredible, and I certainly don't think a thing I don't think is going to happen necessarily is we come out of the Mac Jones, whether it's 2 weeks or 5, which is the reporting that Ian Rappaport has out now that Brock Purdy could miss 2 to 5 weeks at that turf toe. I I don't think we're going to come out of that stretch of time being like, man, maybe Mac Jones is the better quarterback. I don't think we're going to get there. But it wouldn't shock me at all if the Niners offense is at worst fine, because Mac Jones' whole thing is like timing and precision and accuracy. And if you're building out a game plan that I think you're right is good, like, hey, gonna ride the defense, gonna ride the Brian Robinson, Christian McCaffrey backfield, but Mac needs to make these 6 key throws. I think he can make those 6 key throws. I think he can function at the base level that the 49ers would need a quarterback to function at. And I wouldn't be shocked at all if this is a stretch of games where uh if Mac Jones winds up getting paid in a couple of years to be some team's starter, if this is the stretch of games that kind of gets him there.
Well, that's why Mac Jones came to the Niners, right?
Yes.
This is the Sam Darnold. He's
Yeah.
following the Sam Darnold path of okay, let me go back up, Brock Purdy and work under Kyle Shanahan and learn an offense that's becoming more and more popular throughout the league. And then maybe I could parlay that into, a decent job because we've seen there's been more in the last few years, there have been more sort of quarterback resurgent stories than I can ever remember, whether it's Jared Goff or Baker Mayfield or Sam Darnold. Like there have been some reclamation projects that actually work, where as previously it just felt like if you struggled, you were kind of done. You weren't going to get another opportunity. And I don't know that Mac Jones is necessarily going to be a team's preferred starting quarterback again, but I feel like it wouldn't be completely insane if like, oh, Mac Jones actually looks like a starting quarterback at some point during his time playing for the Niners. And I did kind of have a thought like leading into the season that like would it be crazy if Kyle Shanahan at some point won a Coach of the Year award, right? Like, and if he did, would it include dealing with a ton of injuries and then getting a backup quarterback to play at like a reasonable level and to keep them like in a playoff race? You know what I mean? Like
that's not unreasonable. No.
Right. So I think Mac Jones, there's absolutely the possibility that Mac Jones could play at a starting caliber level at some point. I don't know if it'll come Sunday, but it'll be, man, it'll be really, really funny if the Mac Jones dream just comes to fruition for Kyle Shanahan in the sense of like, yeah, this was the guy that he probably wanted in 2021. Now he has him 4 years later,
Yeah.
and he's out here balling. That would
it would make
the
for
funniest.
It would make for great content. Here's the reason I don't think we're gonna get that though, and why I don't think
Mac
we're gonna
Jones isn't very good.
That I think is one thing, but no, I wouldn't be surprised if Kyle Shanahan elevates him a little bit, but so much of what Brock Purdy does, and in fact, Ryan Fitzpatrick on This Is Football, our close personal friend Kevin Clark's podcast, mentioned that Fitzpatrick said that he thinks Purdy is underrated in part because of what he does off schedule. And we just saw the game-winning touchdown to Jake Tunges, off-schedule play where he's running around. You go to the NFC Championship game against the Lions. You go to Week 1 of that year against Pittsburgh, where he's using his legs to make plays. Like this has just become kind of a staple of the 49ers offense is Brock Purdy scrambling. You're not going to get a lot of that with Mac Jones.
No,
and not that he is, never leaves the pocket. He's not Peyton Manning. In that regard. Well, he's not Peyton Manning at all, but you get it. Not Peyton Manning in that regard, but man, you give him time. No, he's not, he's not a statue, but also he's not nearly as elusive as Brock is. So I do wonder if some of the issues on the offensive line get exposed in ways that they don't get exposed with Brock under center.
Yeah, and Brock's superpower, particularly when it comes to dealing with pressure, is knowing where the hot routes are or where the quick releases are. So that'll be the challenge for Mac Jones in the first season of Kyle Shanahan's offense. Really the second week of the season, like it's early. It's not even like Mac Jones has had a whole lot of time to absorb the offense. And you have Brandon Staley on the other side, who was a 49ers defensive assistant for what, a year, 2 years? How long was Brandon Staley with the Niners?
One year,
1 year,
1 year, I think.
Okay. So, I mean, so he knows, like he's as familiar as with Kyle Shanahan's offense as anybody. Particularly given that he used to coach with Sean McVay as the Rams defensive coordinator, all those years ago. So I would expect Brandon Staley to send a lot of pressures at the 49ers offense. I would expect him to test the left side a lot. We saw one thing that Mike McDonald did leading to the first interception that Brock Purdy threw was dialing up a blitz that basically took Christian McCaffrey out of the passing game and forced him to block, which allowed Ernest Jones to get depth on that interception. I kind of wonder if that's going to be a thing we see a lot as the season goes on, just like a lot of blitzes to occupy Christian McCaffrey to take him out of the passing game. And I wonder if Kyle Shanahan's going to have a counter to that and like, all right, if they blitz from that side, then Christian, you're just going to slip and turn around. And instead of running a route, you're just going to be available for a screen. Like, I wonder if that's something that might happen. But the schematic part of it is going to be pretty interesting from like a football nerd perspective. Like, can Mac Jones get the ball out on time and early, because Brandon Staley is probably going to blitz the hell out of the Niners on Sunday.
Yeah, I'd be pretty surprised if it didn't. Or unless he thinks like, yeah, hey, Cam Jordan and these dudes are going to get home with 4, and we're going to make Mac Jones make quick decisions with 7 dropped in coverage. Like maybe that's what they try. But I think you're probably spot on. Like it's what the Niners did to Sam Darnold. That's why Sam Darnold never quite got comfortable in that game. Is Robert Saleh just had some really great pressures dialed up in some big spots. But to your point earlier, and I think you hit the nail on the head, the bar for how high the bar for how well Mac Jones needs to play, the height of the bar for how well Mac Jones needs to play is going to be determined ultimately by the 49ers defense, or at least their ability to win with Jones playing at the level I think he's going to play, where he's just kind of fine. Didn't win him the game, didn't lose him the game. And you're right. If the Niners defense gives up 14 points a game through this stretch, they've got a good chance to win 2 or more. But I think if they falter at all, and all of a sudden it's like, hey, this game's got to be on Mac Jones' right arm, that's where I think you kind of get into trouble. And that's what'll be, I think the ultimate determining factor in how successful this stretch of games is without Brock Purdy.
And it does, like, going back to Sunday, we talk about Brock Purdy was able to survive without, Brandon Ayuk and George Kittle at the end of the game and Juwan Jennings.
Mm-hmm.
Having Christian McCaffrey was really the most important player on the 49ers offense in Seattle, right? Like, he was the fact that they were able to, like, get him the ball so many times, particularly in the passing game. 9 catches on 10 targets to your running back. Like, that's a lot. And
in a game
a
where
lot of those
carries.
Yeah, and he had 22 carries. His ability to move the chains, he had 6 first downs. He had 9 first downs total.
Wow.
So just having McCaffrey and then playing to the defense, like that's the formula. Like, it's going to be like a heavy Christian McCaffrey game again. It's going to be ball control. It's going to be playing to the defense. It's going to be praying to God special teams isn't an absolute disaster, and try to get out of there winning a low scoring game against Spencer Rattler. Like, to me, that formula should work in this game. Because I just don't have any faith in the Saints the Saints are probably one of the worst teams in the league. So I think the 49ers caught a break here in that, they get the Saints in their first game without Brock Purdy and George Kittle. And the fact they have Christian McCaffrey, I think it just feels like it's going to be a heavy Christian McCaffrey game.
Are you concerned by that at all? Because I was viewing this game as a chance, like, man, if the Niners do this right, they could get McCaffrey a game where he's got like 13 touches, and it dramatically offsets the 31. But does it concern you at all that this might be another 25 plus touch game for McCaffrey?
I mean, yeah, long term, it's not what you want, but it's kind of what it's that, like, they can't lose to the Saints. They really can't, like, because it's one of the easiest games on their schedule. I know it's a road game, but like, the Saints are bad enough, and you have a quarterback that started 49 games and went to a Pro Bowl his rookie season. He's not a Pro Bowl player, but just
he was named to a Pro Bowl. That's just a fact.
He went 10-7 as a starter as a rookie.
Yeah.
Like, they should not lose this game. Even without Brock Purdy, they shouldn't lose this game. So the issue with the injuries is, yes, it causes you to rely on Christian McCaffrey more than you would like. I think that's probably the biggest issue, but you'd still take the win even if it meant giving Christian McCaffrey 10 more touches, and you ideally would like to get him in week 2.
Yeah, no, for sure. It's just kind of the reality. I mean, you're not gonna you're not going to go, hey, Christian, it's 31 touches last game, so you're only going to have 12 this game. And it's going to be a lot of B-Rob. So sorry about that. I think it's inevitable that they lean heavily on Christian McCaffrey. And long term, I think that could be a unintended consequence of Brock Purdy's injury.
Yeah, I would agree. But you just hope you survive. Like you just survive, and then maybe
week by week.
But maybe you get, maybe Brian Robinson is more comfortable within the offense this week than he was last week, and maybe he's somebody you can lean on a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, like I think there's a willingness to give a backup running back more run than in previous seasons because of who Brian Robinson is from a career perspective.
Mm-hmm.
And they're actually like, yeah, we do really need Christian McCaffrey to be healthy in November and December, so we're not going to have him play 99% of the snaps like he did in 2023, it felt like.
Right. You want to talk about this Saints game from the Saints perspective? Because, buddy,
well,
Rattler time.
Before we do, I think we should talk about our friends at Lamb Chops.
I love talking about our friends at Lamb Chops.
The fall line is coming out in 2 days, September 13th. We're recording this Thursday, so it'll be out on Saturday. The fall line, the summer line, I think probably my favorite drop that I've gotten from them. I'm wearing the hat right now. You can see it on our YouTube channel. The shorts are always a staple. I have so many pairs of Lamb Chop shorts. They're just phenomenal. But I'm really excited to get potentially another Lamb Chops hoodie. That baby blue hoodie looks great. The sweatsuit, I don't know. Do we go full blue sweatsuit? I think we might have to this year.
Honestly, love this decision for you.
So make sure you go to sglambchops.com, promo code Candlestick20 to save 20% off your order. Their new fall line drops on Saturday. Make sure you check that out. I'm sure it's going to be flying off the shelves as their stuff usually does. And Lamb Chops, join the herd. And Kyle, we are also sponsored by Prize Picks. You and I make decisions every day, but on Prize Picks, being right can get you paid. Don't miss any of the excitement this season on Prize Picks, where it's good to be right. I made my lineup before we came on the pod for week 2. Feeling pretty good about it. I got the I did pretty well with my flex play last week. I usually go power play, but my power play wouldn't have worked. I got 3 of 4. Needed a Caleb Williams to throw an interception. He did not. That was really unfortunate. But I got Travis Kelce. It looks like they're setting that number at half a receiving yard as a little gift to their users. That's lovely. I'm taking that, obviously. Lamar Jackson, I'm taking, it's a demon play, more than half a touchdown. Mac Jones, I'm taking more than half of a passing touchdown. Christian McCaffrey, I'm taking more than 81.5 rushing yards. I just think they're going to lean on him heavily. And I'm also taking more than half a touchdown or half of a rushing or receiving touchdown for Christian McCaffrey. So basically all more than. I'm just incredibly glass half full kind of guy when it comes to Prize Picks, unless I'm going against Caleb Williams, and just feeling really good. When power play, the multiplier, flex play, multiplier, really, really enjoying that. And I'm feeling good about this week. I'm feeling really good about it. So make sure you download the Prize Picks app today on your smartphone. Use code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. That's code Candlestick to get $50 in lineups after you play your first $5 lineup. Prize Picks, it's good to be right.
Hell yeah. I can't wait to watch Spencer Rattler v. Mac Jones. I'm so excited. Spencer Rattler last week against the Arizona Cardinals of Glendale on passes 10 or more yards down the field was 5 of 15 for 75 yards. Yikes.
I would say it's a transition year for the Saints.
He was awesome in this short game, though. 17 of 20 for 108 yards. I'm expecting a lot of Alvin Kamara this week. And a lot of
which would be fine. I think if you're the Niners, keep the ball in front of you,
Mm-hmm.
rally to the football, like rely heavily on D Winters and Fred Warner, stay in your pass rushing lanes as a defensive line. Like I think the game plan is, I don't want to say it's straightforward because an NFL game plan is obviously complicated, but I don't think you need to deviate too much from what you did last week. I think if you just play sound football defensively, and play fast and, send pressures on third down like Robert Saleh did, I think they'll have a good chance.
I think one of the big things too is and this is where the youth on the defensive line could come into play for San Francisco. The Saints ran 6 screen passes last week. And it wouldn't surprise me if we saw a heavy dose of that again. A, to get the ball in Alvin Kamara's hands, but B, trying to take advantage of Alfred Collins or CJ West getting what they think is a free run at the quarterback, and they're slipping an easy throw in behind them for a big gain. So that's something I think the Niners got to be on the lookout for sure, because I think it's something New Orleans is going to try and do a lot of. They had 4 play action passes last week. That's nuts.
Somebody who had a pretty good game in Seattle that we didn't talk about a whole lot was Sam Okuwanu.
Yeah.
Was not a big Sam Okuwanu guy last year. Just didn't think he was a very good player. Thought the fact that he was playing as much defensive end as he played last year was a real big problem and a big reason why they went defensive end in the first round of the draft.
Mm-hmm.
But he's developed. He's improved, it looks like. And if he can be, because I think he's kind of like, he's not necessarily a pass rush specialist, but he's not just a run defender. Like, I think he's got a pretty well-rounded game.
Yeah.
That could be pretty big for them while Mykel Williams cuts his teeth or while he's used as an interior pass rusher. And, Bryce Huff is still mostly a situational pass rusher guy, not necessarily a 4-down guy.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye on Sam Okuwanu, see if he can continue to take those steps.
Yeah, and it's not going to be what he played 15 snaps last week, I think. Let me have NFL Jesus up here. Yeah, I've got him at 15 snaps last week. That's, I think, the sweet spot. But we talked about their depth at defensive end before the year, right? And if Mykel Williams is a little slow off the blocks after not getting any kind of preseason in, do they have players who can just fill in and make a couple of plays? And Sam Okuwanu had the strip on Jackson Smith and Jigba on a pass play where he got out to the sideline. If he can make a couple of plays in those 15 to 20 snaps, I think that's so massive for the 49ers, because when you look down their depth chart, it's like, man, if Bryce Huff isn't good, there's not a lot happening here. And I think with Okuwanu, like you said, I think last week he flashed the value he can have here. I think.
For sure. I'd agree.
Yeah. I don't have a lot else on the Saints. They're a weird team.
They are a weird team. Kellen Moore, I feel like, is a really good offensive coordinator. No idea if he's a good head coach. Not a big Spencer Rattler guy. It's a tough time to be a Saints fan, I think. It sounds like there are going to be a lot of 49ers fans down there in New Orleans again. I will say I was at that game in 2019 back when I was covering the team, and like that was probably the best preseason game I've ever covered, or maybe even I've ever been to. That was the George Kittle 4th down game, 2019.
You said preseason.
Oh, sorry, regular season. Wow. Wow. No, meant regular season.
You just locked in on Niner Saints preseason? All right.
I feel like they have played in the preseason before. Maybe it's
been a while. They played in the preseason last year.
Okay.
That's what I was like, what are
regular season.
Yeah. Yeah, that was I have the Niners and Saints in recent memory played a normal game. Some weird shit always happens. Even in 2020, when the Saints pretty much won the game, controlled the game the entire time, but that was the game that Contavious Street landed on Drew Brees and broke like 14 of his ribs.
Yeah.
It's like something weird always happens in Niners Saints.
They do tend to play a lot of great games.
And then even the one at Candlestick a couple of years ago, or not at Candlestick, Jesus, at Levi's a couple of years ago, where Andy Dalton started for the Saints, it was like 12-0, I think was the final. And Chris Olave had a drop or there was a non-called PI or something weird.
Yeah, 13-0, week 12, November 27th.
2022?
Wow, that's 2022. Yeah. That was a wild one.
Yeah, weird ass games, dude.
I'm going back to it. Niners went.
Can I give you a prediction of something that's going to happen in this game?
Sure.
One team is getting a safety.
Okay.
I don't know which one. I'm not going to call my shot that far, but there's going to be a safety in this game.
Okay.
I think there's going to be a safety. We're going to get a Kyle Juszczyk touchdown. I think that's on tap from our friends at Cooperage.
Sure.
And I think we're going to get a big man interception.
Oh.
Yeah.
Who's it going to be?
I'm not going to call again because the games are too weird. I can't see into my crystal ball that far, but there's going to be a big man interception.
CJ West.
Maybe. A safety, a big man INT, like Nick Bosa reads a screen and tips it in the air, and Kalia Davis comes down with it or something.
Okay.
And so big man interception. I've got safety. And what was the other thing? Kyle Juszczyk touchdown. He's working out with tight ends. I read that Vic Tafer's diving into that. Or not Vic Tafer.
Think...
I'm sorry. That was Nick Wagner wrote that at ESPN. My bad.
I think Luke Farrell's going to score a touchdown this week.
Okay. Love that. We didn't talk about this the other day. His fourth down catch was gnarly. That was a huge took a wallop. Ohio State's finest. Luke Farrell.
Devon Witherspoon celebrating the hell out of that hit was one of my highlights of the game.
Just lays the dude out, gets up flexing, talking shit as he walks away. It's like, that's a first down, dog.
Yeah, they just converted fourth down in like a big spot. Why are you celebrating?
If you want to do that, here's the thing: is if you do that in the first quarter, and it's just like a setting a tone. Yeah, they got a first down, but man, that guy's gonna think twice before coming over the middle again. Okay, I get it. All right, I don't mind. That's a huge fourth down conversion in a big spot.
Yeah.
But anyways,
DBs just the irrational celebrations from DBs is one of my favorite things in football. You see it at every level. You see it in high school. You see it in college. You see it in the pros. There can be a receiver who's 5 yards past you on a go route. The quarterback can completely overthrow it. And then you get the DB waving, incomplete, doing the seatbelt thing. Like, it's just unbelievable stuff. It's one of my favorite things in football.
If that was me, I get cooked, guy overthrows it. You'd see me like pulling on my collar, like, oh boy. Oh, was lucky.
Yeah, I just turn around and be like, all right, I just shake my head. Just do one of these.
Got me. No fly zone, not in my house, baby. You think you can run past me and make a catch?
Upton Stout had one of those, I think, in the game.
Yeah.
He got beat and there was an incompletion. He's doing this, and it's like, come on, guy.
He did have a really nice pass breakup, though.
He's going to be good. I have a lot of faith in him to be good. He's going to take his lumps as a rookie, but he's going to be good, I think.
If I'm the Saints, I'm spamming that like out. I don't know what it's called, but that little out and up route that the Seahawks kept doing and the Niners kept biting on every single time they ran it. I would do that until they prove they can cover it.
Sure.
Like, just do it every time. They're going to bite on the out.
Especially if the corner is attached to a receiver who's running like a post or like something up the seam and can't get out that wide.
Yeah. Crazy.
I'm sure Bob Sala has a solution to that.
Yeah, he's got it. He's got it unlocked for sure. It was pretty crazy watching the Niners defense as the game went on adjust to things because I feel like we haven't seen that in years. Where the Seahawks had that first touchdown drive where they kind of got their run game going a little bit, and then the Niners just shut the faucet off. It was amazing. It was very, very different from the last couple of seasons. And I also this is another thought I had from Monday that bleeds into today. I also think that we're going to see, I thought this even before the injury stuff, but I think even more so now, where these first couple of games might be pretty ugly while Upton Stout takes his lumps, while Michael Williams figures it out, where if the 49ers can find a way to survive and pull out wins while their young players are making mistakes like Upton Stout did the other day, I think it bodes really, really well for them later in the season.
George Kittle said it last week, and I think you could, like, before the Seahawks game, it felt like it might have been a kind of a throwaway line, but he said the biggest move the 49ers made in the offseason was bringing Robert Saleh back.
Mm-hmm.
And seeing the way the defense played on Sunday, I was like, oh, this might just be, and I said it on D-Lo and KC earlier today, like it might just be that the defense is greater than the sum of its parts because it's just really well coached.
Yeah. I wouldn't shock me at all.
Like that's kind of what it looked like. It was like, oh, there aren't any dramatic coverage busts. There aren't any really terrible blitz or non-blitz calls. Like everything just seems to kind of work. Like we were so often used to seeing the 49ers defense work. Like it might just be that, like, okay, it is a bunch of young players, but they're so well coached and they're put in the right spots to the point where, like, yeah, this is a much better defense than I think we anticipated, just given the fact that Robert Saleh is back.
Yep. The Niners practice report just came out. Nick Bosa, a full participant. Christian McCaffrey, a full participant. Trent Williams not participating for the second consecutive day. He was listed as a knee injury, but also not injury-related resting player. So do we think that this is a Trent Williams might not play on Sunday situation, or do we think this is a Trent Williams is 37 and is a little banged up, so they're not going to push him in practice?
I think it's the latter, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were like, yeah, Trent's just too sore and couldn't go. Unfortunately. I mean, that would be
back.
I'm kind of expecting him to play, but I'm not. I'm done just expecting things to be fine. You know? And it might be that, like, yeah, Trent's just gonna practice one day a week from here on out. Like that could be it too.
Wouldn't shock me even a little bit.
Yeah.
Chase Young dealing with a calf injury, a non-participant 2 days in a row. I guess we can scrap the Chase Young revenge game segment.
He didn't play last week, right?
No.
Yeah.
Tough.
Chase Young, the Jonathan Kuminga defensive ends. Your thoughts?
Ooh. Nah. I'm gonna go with no. Major injury early in his career. Sure. The Jonathan Kuminga of defensive ends would want to play cornerback. And they're like, nah, you should play defensive end. And he's like, no. Send me to a team that'll put me at corner. Let me cook.
That's fair.
Got too literal, but
that's fair. All right, Niners Saints. We will have a live show after the game. Keep it locked. Watch the game with some Cooperage Brewing Candlestick Chronicles Hazy IPA. It's very, very good. Very good beer.
It's delightful. I need to order a case. You can get it at coopersbrewing.com. And I'm 21. I live in the state of California. I can get it shipped directly to my door, and it's cold when it arrives.
It's great.
So I need to go do that because chances are I'm not gonna make it to Santa Clara. Nope, I'm certainly not going to Santa Clara, to Santa Rosa to visit the brewery or the tap room by game day. So maybe I'll get that. Maybe I'll get that ordered.
But if you're in the North Bay, I would say the Ross Street, their new location on Ross Street is one of the best places you could ever go to drink beer and watch football.
That's incredible.
And also they just redid the outside of the original brewery over on Airway off Piner in Santa Rosa. So you should absolutely check that out. They're always going to have food trucks, dog friendly, family friendly. Vibes are great. Beer's great. So yeah, go check them out.
And they do not suffer shitty food trucks.
No, absolutely not.
Every time I've eaten food there, it's a banger.
Yeah. So
salute.
All right. Niners Saints, subscribe to the YouTube channel, 5-star reviews wherever you get your podcasts. Leave a comment down below. Ask us questions or give us some scorching hot takes, and maybe we'll respond.
What weird thing do you think is going to happen in 49ers Saints on Sunday? Make your prediction.
Leave that comment down below. All right, we'll talk to you guys Sunday. See you.